I was like you once, lost, confused, a piece of shit. Then I met Charlie. I was sitting on the beach in Venice, and I just had a big fight with my daddy about, I don't know, my eye makeup or the bombing in Cambodia. He said I was a drug addict and a whore, and I should get out of his house forever. I went down to the beach and sat down on the sand and cried. I felt like I was disappearing, like the whole world was dividing into two parts, me and everybody else. And then this guy came down the beach, this dirty-looking little elf. And he stopped in front of me and smiled this twinkly devil smile. And he said, "Your daddy kicked you out." He knew. Your daddy kicked you out. How could he have known? My daddy didn't tell him, so who could have? It's God. God sent this dirty-looking little elf to save a little girl lost on a beach. He smiled again, touched my hair, and off we went. And for a minute, I just watched him go. Then I ran and caught his hand, and until they arrested him for stabbing Sharon Tate, I never let it go.
Danielle, please share with us, what is it that attracted you to this particular monologue?
Oh, to this one? Okay, so a lot of different things actually, and I'll go like a little bit personal for a second. As a kid, I had an obsession with hippies and like the whole free, all of it. And I even wore this kind of a hairband for most of 5th and 6th grade, as part of my life. So that whole time period was always really interesting to me. And when I was going through the list of monologues, I was trying to find one that was age appropriate and then I could connect with. And Assassins was a show I was a little bit familiar with, but something about somebody who is so in love with someone that they can excuse something so insane, like, I don't know if this is before the monologue or after, so I don't want to give anything else away where it is in the cut, is just fascinating. The psychology involved in that is fascinating to me. So I wanted to dive into it a little bit and bring Lynette to you.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I used to think Clive was the one who liked sex, but then I found I missed it. I used to touch myself when I was very little. I thought I'd invented something wonderful. I used to do it to go to sleep with or cheer myself up. One day it was raining and I was under the kitchen table and my mother saw me with my hand under my dress rubbing away. She dragged me out so quickly I hit my head and it bled and I was sick and nothing was said and I never did it again. Till this year. I used to think if Clive wasn't looking at me, there wasn't a person there. And one night in bed in my flat, I felt so frightened. I started touching myself. I thought my hand would go right into space. I touched my face. It was there. My arm, my breast, and my hand sent down where I thought it shouldn't. And I thought, well, there is somebody there. It felt very sweet. It was a feeling from very long ago. It was very soft, just barely touching. And I felt myself gathering together more and more, And I felt angry with Clive and angry with my mother, and I went on and on defying them. And there was this vast feeling growing in me and all around me, and I was there and coming and coming. Afterwards, I thought I'd betrayed Clive. My mother would kill me. But I felt triumphant because I was a separate person from them. And then I cried because I didn't want to be. But I don't cry about it anymore. Sometimes I do it 3 times in one night, and it really is great fun.
So what's the play about, Cloud9?
Well, I haven't read the whole play, if I'm honest, but my character, this character, Betty, is married to a man who runs around on her, and all her life she's been identified either through her mother or through men and her husband, and so she finally leaves, and she's independent, and with that she's frightened, and so I think the whole masturbating metaphor is really about her finding herself and being independent of all of them and their judgment, and reaching deep down inside and coming into her own.
Literally.
Let me tell you again, Grace, how important it is to give everyone a chance. Here's what I do. I always start with Mary, and I tell them that it's very important that we choose our Mary carefully because Mary is the mother of Jesus. Yes. And then I tell them about Joseph, how he was chosen by God to be the father of Jesus. That's how I explain that. Frankly, I don't spend too much time on Joseph because it's always Milo Sturgis, and he knows all about Mary and Joseph, but I do explain about the wise men and the shepherds and how important they are. I tell them there are no small parts, only small actors. Remind the angel choir not to stare at the audience, and don't let them wear earrings and things like that. And don't let them wear clunky shoes or high heels. Oh, I just hope you don't have too many angel babies, Grace, because they are going to be your biggest problem. You're going to need someone to push the angel babies on, or they'll just get in each other's way and bend their wings. Bob can do that, and he'll keep an eye on the shepherds, too. Oh, another thing about the angel choir. Don't let them wear lipstick. They think because it's a play, they can wear lipstick, and it looks terrible, so just tell them. Oh, and don't use just anybody's baby for Jesus, no. Get a quiet one. Better yet, get 2 if you can. That way, if one turns out to be fussy, you can just switch them.
So Jody, please share with us what attracted you to this particular monologue.
It was funny, and it was short. And that's
Good.
all I needed.
Good answer.
Isn't there one thing that strikes you as strange about our sitting here like this? We've been married now 8 years. Doesn't it occur to you that this is the first time that you and I, husband and wife, have had a serious conversation? In all these 8 years, longer than that, since the very beginning of our acquaintance, we have never exchanged a word about a serious subject. I don't mean business matters. I say that we have never sat down together in earnest to try and get at the bottom of anything. You have never understood me. I have been greatly wronged, Torvald, first by Papa and then by you. You have never loved me. You have only thought it pleasant to be in love with me. It's true, Torvald. When I was at home with Papa, he would tell me his opinion about everything. And so I had the same opinions. And if I differed from him, I concealed the fact because he would not have liked it. He used to call me his doll child, and he would play with me the way I used to play with my dolls. And when I came to live with you, well, I was simply transferred from Papa's hands to yours. You arranged everything according to your taste, and so I got the same taste, or at least I pretended to, as you. I'm not really quite sure which. I think sometimes the one and sometimes the other. When I look back, it seems to me as if I had been living here like some poor woman, just hand to mouth. I existed merely to perform tricks for you, Torvald. But you would have it so. You and Papa have committed a great sin against me. It's your fault that I have done nothing with my life.
Sky, please share with us what attracted you to this particular monologue.
Okay. So, in all honesty, I directed A Doll's House too, a year and a half ago. And I've always loved A Doll's House because of its feminist, well, not even underpinnings, like overt feminism of in a very early time. And so this, I feel like, is that moment. This is that moment where Nora is becoming self-actualized and she has decided to leave Torvald. And I feel like it's this monologue in particular that so much of A Doll's House 2 is based on, right? It takes like the verisimilitude to this moment is what Knopf did with his play. So I just really love this moment.
Thank you.
I look gorgeous in high heels. Well, everyone looks gorgeous in high heels, but my feet hurt! My little toe was always crushed. I had a bunion. I was in so much pain, I couldn't think. I had to choose heels or think. So I chose think. So I bought chic flat shoes. I made a lot of mistakes. I bought these turquoise blue Marc Jacob flats that the salesman talked me into because he said they had toe cleavage. I never heard of toe cleavage. Anyway, I realized that these chic flat shoes were almost as uncomfortable as heels, and they didn't do that amazing thing to your leg. Fortunately, about that same time, I met this incredibly stylish woman who was wearing Birkenstocks. When I was in high school, I was a Doc Martin girl, and Birkenstocks symbolized everything I did not want to be. They were uncool, and the girls that wore them had big dirty toes that stuck out the ends. But this stylish woman wore her Birks with a pair of baggy cords and some chic French sleeveless top. It was a revelation. The next day, I went out and got a pedicure, bought a pair dark brown, standard style. And I realized that Birkenstocks were the coolest, punkest shoes any girl could wear. They made a statement. These are my feet. We all have them, okay? My husband, he had a slightly different opinion. He hated my Birkenstocks. He said they made me look like a troll from Middle-earth. And once when the Yankees were in the playoffs, he made me take them off before I entered the room that had the TV because he thought I would hex the team. After we broke up, you would have thought I stuck with my Birkenstocks. But no. I went back to my heels. I'm in so much pain, I can't think. But I look gorgeous. I had to choose heels or think. I chose heels.
Please share with us what attracted you to this monologue.
I really love heels. I would wear heels all the time if I could. And they really do amazing things for your legs. And I want to thank Carla for introducing this monologue to me. And I love heels.
That's all we need to know.
What are these heels?
Mr. Worthing, I confess I am somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred, in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that bring to mind the worst excesses of the French Revolution. And I presume you know what that unfortunate movement led to. As for the particular locality in which the handbag was found, a cloakroom in a railway station might serve to conceal a social indiscretion. Indeed, has probably been used for the purpose before now. But it can hardly be regarded as an assured basis for a recognized position in good society. I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to try and acquire some relations as soon as possible, and to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the season is quite over. What, you can hardly imagine that I and Lord Bracknell would allow our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel. Good day, Mr. Worthing.
Erica, please share with us what attracted you most to this particular monologue.
Well, first of all, I love doing accents, so that's always a plus for me. Second of all, Lady Bracknell seems to be a lot more complex than is seen on the surface. She's kind of a social climber, and she's very ambitious for her own daughter. I have a daughter, so I kind of understand that. And it's just a fun character to be so uptight and Victorian and stern. Love it.
Thank you. Fun. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ow, there's no use you going on. I can't open sardines and answer the phone. I've only got one pair of feet. Hello? No, love, there's no one here. No, Mr. Brent's not here. Yes, he lives here, that's right. Only now he lives in Spain. Yes, Mr. Philip Brent, yes, the one who writes the plays. Only now he writes them in Spain. No, love, she's not here. She's in Spain as well. There's no one here. Am I in Spain? Well, no, love, I'm not in Spain. I look after the house for him, but I go home at 1 o'clock on Wednesday. Only I've got a nice plate of sardines to put my feet up with. Oh, and it's the royal, well, you know, on the telly. Oh, what's it called then? Well, where's the paper? Oh, and if it has to do with letting the house, well, then you'll have to call the house agents, because they're the agents for the house. Oh, Squire Ackerman. Oh, who's the other one then? What? No, love, they're not in Spain. They're next to the phone in the study. Squire Ackerman. Oh, I'll go and look. Okay, hold on. Oh, it's always the same, isn't it? As soon as you put your feet up, down it all comes on your head.
Cheryl, please share with us what attracted you most to this particular monologue.
Well, to be completely honest, having been in the show a few times before, I knew the words, or at least a good part of the words, so hey.
That helps. Thank you.
Last night, Howard Beale went on the air and yelled bullshit for 2 minutes, and we've got press coverage you couldn't buy for $1 million. Did you see the overnights on the network news? It has an 8 in New York and a 9 in LA and a 27 share on both cities. I can tell you right now, if we put Beale back on tonight, the show will get a 30 share at least. I think we've totally lucked into something. Yes, I think we should put Beale back on the air tonight and keep him on. Frank, that dumb show jumped 5 rating points in one night. We've just increased our audience by 20 or 30 million people in one night. You're not gonna get something like this dumped into your lap for the rest of your days, and you can't just piss it away. Howard Beale got up there last night and said what every American feels. He's tired of all the bullshit. He is articulating the popular rage. I want that show, Frank. I can turn that show into the biggest smash on television. I see Howard Beale as a Latter-day Prophet, a magnificent messianic figure inveighing against the hypocrites of our times. A nightly Savonarola, Monday through Friday. I tell you, Frank, that could just go through the roof. And I am talking about a $6 cost per 1,000 show. Do you want to figure out the revenues of a strip show that sells for $100,000 a minute? One show like that could pull this whole network right out of the hole. Now, Frank, it is being handed to us on a plate. Let's not blow it.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Please tell us, what was it about this particular monologue that attracted you?
Well, after reading the 3 options that were sent to me, I was like, oh, all right, I love chorus line, that's good, and well, I'm not the greatest at Shakespeare, so that was like, maybe not. But I didn't actually know anything about networks, so it was very appealing to approach something that would be totally fresh for me, totally no preconceptions of how I think it should go or sound. And it also felt very natural when I read it through. I was like, I can actually hear myself saying these things and not feel like I'm trying to put on a character. It just felt like I could just sink into it. So
Great.
yeah, it was
Thank
a good choice.
you. Thank you.
Right after I became a flight attendant, a friend of mine who had a garden department gave me a cocoon from my bedroom. He collects things like that. Insects and caterpillars and, all that. It was attached to a twig, and he said one morning I'd wake up to a beautiful butterfly in my bedroom when hatched. He told me they come out soaking wet, and there's a little drop of blood there too. Isn't that fascinating? And within an hour, they dry off, and then they begin to fly. Well, I told him I had a cat. I had a cat then. And he said to just put the cocoon someplace the cat couldn't get at it, which is impossible, but what are you gonna do? So I put it high on a ledge where the cat never went. And the next morning, it was still there at least, so it seemed safe to leave it. Well, anyway, about a week or so later, very early this one morning, the guy calls and says, April, do you have a butterfly this morning? I told him to hold on. I managed to get up and look, and there, on that ledge, I saw a wet spot, a little drop of blood, and no butterfly. And I thought, oh dear God in heaven, the cat got at it. So I pick up the phone to tell this guy, and just then suddenly I spotted it under the dressing table. It was moving one wing. The cat had got at it, but it was still alive. So I pick up the phone to tell the guy, and he gets so upset. He said, oh no. Oh dear God, no. Don't you see that's a life? A living thing? Well, I got dressed, and I brought it to the park, and I put it on a rose. It was summer then. And it looked like it would be all right. I think anyway. But that man, I really felt damaged by him. awful. That was just cruel. So I went home and I called him back and said, listen, I'm a living thing too, you shithead. I never saw him again.
Voice coming.
Do I?
I don't know. That's what Carla said.
Okay. Jen, please share with us what attracted you most to this particular monologue.
You should have warned me. What attracted me most to this particular monologue? I've been in company twice, and I've never played April, but I've always appreciated her monologue, and I think it's difficult to play dumb and not be dumb. And so I wanted to give it a try.
Good answer.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother, that you insult, exalt, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty? As by my faith, I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed. Must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why? What means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sail work. Odes, my little life. I think she means to entangle my life, too. 'Tis not your inky brows, nor your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can ensnare my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd. Wherefore do you follow her like foggy south puffing with wind and rain? 'Tis such fools as you that make the world full of ill-favoured children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her. And out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But, mistress, know thyself. Down on your knees, and thank heaven's fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, but foul's to be scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd, and fare you well.
Meg, tell us, if you will, what drew you to this particular monologue?
In all honesty, I really missed Shakespeare. And what I love about Rosalind is she comes from this like very high up place, and then she's suddenly knocked down, and she's so afraid of love that when she sees these two country folk like fighting, she's like, stop. And I can agree with that of like love needs to persevere. So stop being picky, but also like learn how to woo the girl. Like she's a little snooty in this, and like she's like, you're not doing it good enough, but also you're really ugly. So so I find Rosalind to be very complex, and that she learns as she goes. So I don't know, I just love Rosalind, and I love this character.
Don't you guys get into like comparing notes and stuff? Okay, well, this is just getting a little weird now, because when I talked to Valerie, she asked me if anything happened between us last night, and for some reason, I guess I didn't really tell her that anything did. So now she's gonna talk to Dennis, and I'm gonna look like a total liar to someone I'm just starting to be close friends with and who I really care about. I just should have figured that you would like rush off to tell your friends that you fucked me, whereas I would be a little more inclined to find out where I stood with you. Okay, but you know what? It doesn't really matter, because you just tell him whatever he wants to know, no matter what the consequences are for somebody else.
But honestly, Warren, I really don't care who you told or what you told them, because people are gonna think whatever they think, and you know what? There's nothing I can do about it. I should just really trust my instincts, you know? Because your instincts are never wrong. And it was totally against my instinct to come over here last night, and it was definitely against my instinct to sleep with you, but I did, and it's too late. And now my mom is totally furious at me. I've probably ruined my friendship with Valerie, and now like Dennis Ziegler thinks I'm like easy pickings or something. And you know what? I don't really care what he thinks, because I don't actually know him, or you, or Valerie for that matter. So it doesn't matter. I've made new friends before, I can make new friends now if I have to, and we can just forget the whole thing ever happened. You can chalk one up in your book or whatever, and I'll just know better next time. Hopefully. Okay?
Susan, our question is, what attracted you to this particular monologue?
I was attracted to Jessica because she's totally badass, even though you can tell she's pretty insecure with herself. And it's not, like, anger is not an emotion that I often get to play. So it was an opportunity to do something different.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A few days ago, I woke up and I heard this voice saying, "It wasn't enough." And I didn't recognize the voice at first, but then it started to come back to me. When I was 8 years old, someone brought me to a theater with a lot of other children. We'd come to see a production of Peter Pan, and I remember there being something wrong with the whole production. Odd things kept happening, like when the children would fly, the ropes kept breaking and the actors would come thumping to the ground and would have to be carried off by the stagehands. There seemed to be this unlimited supply of understudies to take the children's places, but then they would fall to the ground. And the crocodile that chases Captain Hook seemed like it was a real crocodile. It wasn't an actor. And then at one point he fell off the stage, crushing several children in the front row. Several understudies came and took the children's places in the audience. And scene after scene, Wendy just seemed to get fatter and fatter and fatter until finally, by the second act, she was immobile and had to be carried in a cart. The actor, that voice, was the actress playing Peter Pan. You know how in the second act, Tinkerbell drinks the poison before Peter does to save him, and then Peter Pan turns to the audience and says, "Tinkerbell's going to die because not enough people believe in fairies. But if you all clap really hard and show that you do believe in fairies, then maybe Tinkerbell won't die." So then all the children started to clap. And we clapped very hard and very long. And my palms, they really started to hurt and bleed. I clapped so hard. And then the actress playing Peter Pan turned to the audience and said, "That wasn't enough. You didn't clap loud enough. Tinkerbell's dead." Well, everyone started to cry. The actress stalked off the stage and refused to continue with the play. They finally had to bring down the curtain. No one could see anything through all those tears, and then the ushers came and they had to lead the children up the aisles and out into the street. I don't think any of us were ever quite the same after that. Certainly turned me against theater.
So Bridget, can you tell us what attracted you to this piece?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Durang, and I think absurdist comedy is the hardest thing to do. I think it's really difficult, so I wanted a challenge, and I wanted something funny, even though this is kind of tragic. I thought it was just weird and funny, and I enjoyed it. And I've never seen Peter Pan, and I'm not really wanting to now either. So, that's it.
Thank you.
Let's see.
See? And see.
Oh my God, I love Peter Pan. I think I am Peter Pan.
Taylor? Well, I can't do that in this costume. Taylor?
Whatever you want.
We'll find out.
Whenever you're ready. Okay. That's real good.
Thank you.
Yes. And don't.
French dressmaker, don't you know?
Very nice.
Hi, audience. Let me start over.
You can walk back in.
Yeah. No. These are my 5 minutes, Carla.
Oh my God, I love Peter Pan. I think I am Peter Pan.
Yeah, and I had the wrong name in there too. I can't think of his name.
It sounded great. Look it up for you?
She asked me. Oh, I messed up already. Sorry.
Okay, you go right.
God, this bathrobe's dirty. That actually works for the character.
Oh yeah.
Because. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Marla Sturgis, so whoever he is, I'm using his name in vain. Isn't he like a writer or something?
There's Lex Sturgis.
Let me tell you again, Grace. Let me start again, since I swallowed that.
No problem.
We've been married now 8 years.
Line, stop. Okay.
You never saw The Sensible Woman.
It wasn't that.
It's a horrible movie.
That's right.
Right.
My yoga pants. I taught this morning.
Hey.
I'm out of breath.
Peter's great.
And you know, and he beat out Denzel for the Oscar when he did Malcolm X that year.
It's Milo something.
Oh my God, I love Peter Pan. I think I am Peter Pan.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, applause. We don't get that anymore for like a year. Should I keep talking?
What do you see? How this looks great. Fantastic.
Well, that was the Al Pacino never got an Oscar. We have to give it to him for something year.
I'm sure my mask is killing whatever germs are on the floor.
Courtesy of Chester. He said when they come out, are we still moving? No, I'm just talking right now. Okay. He said when.
All right, how'd you feel?
Cast me. I feel great.
Good.
Yeah, which is the name of somebody, I think. It's like somebody famous.
One of those things.
Camille's got a few questions. One question.